sequence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, and welcome to my web stream. Today I'll be doing a lot of things. On this particular stream, I will be taking this on-site and changing it to off-site. But it's almost a different project because there's two phases to the crawl. There's the on-site and there's the off-site. So I'm going to actually be creating a second function for offsite links. Okay, so in short, I just want to be able to list the offsite links I find as a result of these crawls that I'm doing. So you'll remember I incorporated the crawl function directly into the pipulate code. So that's all it takes now to get a list of on-site links. And perhaps you'll remember I did a couple of list comprehension tricks here in order to do that. This first one says, first it switches any relative links to absolute by doing this little trick here. It joins the site to the href value that was found in the links on the page that was just crawled. If there is a value set for the href attribute, and that value is not simply a slash, and it's not equal to a number sign either. So you'll remember that before it goes through links 1 and links 2, there's merely just links, and that probably is still populated in memory. I check here, it is. And so we can take a look at that and see what other types of links we came up with. Now they are all appended with New York Times, www.newyorktimes, because of, actually, this came after that. So this is all the raw links that were found. So some are going to be on-site and some are going to be off-site, I do believe. Although it's a bit odd, I'm not seeing the off-site ones yet. I think it's been processed a little bit. Let me start from the beginning, as is always a good practice, is to start at the beginning and proceed on through till you reach the end. So sort of where we left off. And when I do this little test, I will not be using the code that I incorporated into pipulate. You'll see here. So I can do pipulate.crawl and feed it a site, and I get back all that processed stuff. But I'm sort of creating the inverse to that now. So I will not be bothering to use the one that's built in, but rather use the one that's right here. Now you'll see I don't change links all throughout here. All I do is add links 1 and links 2. So at this step here, I should have all those links on site and off. Oh, it's still catching up with me to see. This query is still executing here. In fact, it hasn't even finished this first one yet. So I've hit Shift Enter as I went down on these, and have got quite a bit ahead of the notebook. It might even still be restarting the kernel for all I know. But it will suddenly catch up, and you'll see everything occur right down to here. And that is more like it. That is more like a list of the links that I believed I was going to be seeing. There are 30 links. We have not even extracted out the Ahref values. So I do want to look at the Ahref, and this will be really interesting. See how you can grab the Ahref value. This is nice list comprehension. How that's for X in links, that's X for X in. So I can use this trick without doing the URL join. First, we do this demonstration, X for X in, and show you that that's exactly the same. But now I can reach for the Ahref value of that. Is that correct? Obviously not. It's not Ahref, silly me. It's just the Href. I'm referring to Ahrefs too much. And so there we have the complete, unedited, raw list of links. Now I want to actually get the invert of the the inversion of onsite. So we have the site variable, and because we have the URL lib parse, URL join, URL parse, right? So this is the important thing. If you're not familiar with URL parse, well, definitely get yourself familiar, because it's one of the most useful built-in standard library web things. So we do URL parse around site, and that breaks it up into scheme, netlock, path, params, etc. And so when we do a comparison, we're going to be comparing to make sure it's not on netlock. So if we were to say .netlock, now there's two things going on here. I'm using the dot object notation. I could just as easily have used square notation with quotes around it. Oh no, interesting. The API is not built that way. I take that back. Sometimes you get an API that's built so that it handles both ways. Sometimes it's just the dot object notation. Sometimes it's just the index, callable index notation. So in this case, it's dot object notation. And so we're making sure that this does not come. So we can exclude everything that doesn't begin with HTTP, because anything that's blank or just slash is on site. So we can start to go if X from the beginning to 4 characters is not equal to HTTP. So let's see, slice. Oh yeah. Gotta be careful how you pick stuff up. So these are the ones where the beginning is not equal. Oh, I do want it to be equal. It has to be equal. Yeah, so these are the first round of candidates for offsite, because it actually begins with a protocol. All offsite links are going to begin with a protocol. either HTTP or HTTPS. Now, what it's not going to be is itself. So we have another value here. I'll just set them both. It's in order to not keep re-execute, well, then that creates a new object in memory. So there's a question whether we re-execute URL parse or whether we set a new object equal to it. So I'll set a new object equal to it, and then the netlock equals parts.netlock. In fact, we don't even need to say netlocks. We can just now use parts.this, parts.that. So we have parts.netlock, parts. I want it to be plural parts. Parts.netlock and parts.protocol. Proto. Let's take a look at parts. Scheme. Okay, so obviously now local, I don't want to create collisions, but what they are is local links. Local links equals, I'm going to do the old syntax here, colon / %s, tuple, parts.scheme, parts.netlock. So we now have something called local links, which is the exact site, which is what will appear in the left. So we have one more thing to make sure things are not. So I'm going to gather these stuff that's actually doing work. The stuff that's just for demonstration purposes, I delete. And this go above that because we're about to use local links where it does equal that, and whatever it is, it's going to be not equal to that. Now, what is it? It is once again this, but a different length. That, a length of local links is not equal to local links. Yeah, there's your offsite stuff. See, it's the inversion of the onsite. If there's any, help sites or anything that are subdomains of the original sites, those are going to show as well. But this is a completely valid inversion of on-site links. And again, in the face of the do it once people, they might say, oh, just try and build it into this crawl function that you did. It's the same code, blah, blah. Never write anything more than once. But what I say is, actually, I have a different function. And that isn't so much code the same. It isn't such similar code that I need to go for reuse and do it once mentality. So what I do want to do is turn it into a function now. All the imports and stuff is already taken care of. So instead of a crawl, which was the concept of the last one, this is almost like a reverse crawl. I don't know. I'll do def offsite. No ambiguity. You're going to be feeding it a URL, you're going to be getting back a list of offsite links. Offsite links. Site. Parenthesis. Set paste. Insert. Do the paste. Do my indent. Search for /tabs. I do have them in there. I have done a search and replace not too long ago to get them out of there. I'll do the expand tabs way of doing that later, but this is just an expression of that. This is actually a list. Local links equals the local link. So I already used the term local link, so it's going to be just local link. You know what? I'll change that to singular. There. I got all the occasions of that. So local link equals, and so now I can set this whole thing to local links. And now I have a more consistent language. I can even return local links. And I can re-import pipulate. Now I should be able to go here and say foo equals pipulate offsite links from site. Links is not defined. Yeah, of course. I'm jumping the gun here. There still needs to be the crawl of the site. Code reuse, code reuse. Take a look at the contents of foo. It's my offsite links. Yay, yay. It's my offsite links. So here's a non-HTTP. That's really interesting. I can probably save myself some grief by doing it both ways. Filter it out. Well, you know what? I consider it well, how would I do that? What would be the most lightweight? Because simply here not equal to local link, I'd have to create two conditions. It's comparing the exact length. I'm going to keep it this way for now. I'm examining against a set of offsite links. So that crawl, I got offsite links now built into pipulate. Now, if I really wanted to, avoid code reuse or avoid, duplicate code, I could def raw links given a site, and then take that piece of code I just did here, put that in there, return links. Now links equals raw links site. Put that there. I could even use sub-functions for this sort of thing. Save it. Go back out here. I don't have to start the whole kernel for this sort of thing. Inconsistent use of tabs, and that is absolutely going to be a tab sneak, and it gets stuck in a sort of code. And if I go over here to my journal, I do a Shift-G to get down to my bag of tricks, I can just look up here for these things. Span tab and retab. Set expand tab and then retab. That's a way to do it. And I always think of maybe key binding that or putting a macro or something. I just haven't done it yet. But at any rate, now that little annoyance is gone, and we can do this thing again here. I'll do it against bar. Instead of the same old site, I'll do my site, like lev.in. See what comes back. Oh yeah, it has to be fully qualified. And still errors. Failed to parse. Oh, did I type it wrong? Yes, I typed it wrong. So over and over. Boy, that must be painful to watch. Bar. There's my offsite links on my personal site. And I certainly will be able to extract out things like stuff I'm looking for, links to other particular sites I'm looking for. So I have the building blocks of what's necessary for the next step in my project. Save. Drop out with a :sh. I still have it loaded, by the way. If I hit exit, I'm right back where I was. So git commit. Added external link function. Offsite _ links. I should be consistent, but what the heck. Git push. Then, of course, pipulate release. And then exit. And we're back to where we were editing offsite links. Whew, that's a good session. What more? I feel like there should be more I show you, but that got the point across for what I need to do. Coming up next, I guess I'll just do a little thinking out loud. Semicolon to be back where I was. That almost hardly warranted its own thing, but there. 4. Think. We're going to be doing quite a bit more of a crawl. It's going to involve something like a queue. You can see that over here, I was looking for queues in Python to see if there was anything built into the standard library, and I'm sure there's even more than what I found. But a queue is just a way of putting things in and taking stuff out of a list, and the recommendation here is to create a queue as just a standard Python list, and then use append to add to it, and pop to take off of it, and that will, in fact, create a queue. Now, if you'll remember, I have an easy way to make objects persistent or not. So I am going to make a persistent queue. Make a persistent queue, Q-U-E, for quick crawl. That's going to be the next project coming up, because a one-page crawl isn't quite enough. Really, this turns turn one-page crawl. Now, there's some tricks here. You could use recursion and all kinds of processes to turn that one-page crawl into a site-wide crawl, and it gets out of control. You don't want it. So I'm going to simply turn a one-page crawl into a so it's home page, and visiting each page off of the home page. That's a one-click depth crawl. So that is actually a breadth first sweep of the site. Breadth, B-R-E-A-D-T-H, breadth first sweep of site. Yeah, I guess that's a way to put it. If that makes any sense to you, good. If not, I'll explain it when you come back on the next stream. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. And of course, do not forget to